Hello guys, and welcome to today's video. In today's video, you're probably wondering, what the hell's on my screen? Well guys, this is XDefiant. Like, you guys might have forgotten about this now. No, XDefiant has not released. There is no release date. This is console gameplay as well, so enjoy that in the background using the ACR. This was back during the beta that we had on the console, which was a very long time ago, I know. And a lot of things have happened since then. A lot of things that were pretty unexpected. A lot of things, a lot of missed opportunities. And I kind of want to talk about today what is going on with XDefiant, because we still don't have XDefiant. It's not on PC, there's not a closed beta, there's nothing. We have nothing with XDefiant right now. And it's kind of like getting to that point of, you know, what's going on? Like, are we getting XDefiant? Of course we're going to get XDefiant, but there's been a lot of issues, it seems. And a lot of you guys have put it in my comments below, like, quite a few times about, like, because if you guys aren't interested in MW3 and Call of Duty, you guys are interested in XDefiant. I was too. Like, XDefiant is definitely going to be a competitor to COD. Is it going to be better than COD? Is it going to outsell COD? Probably not, right? And I say outsell. Is it going to have a better player base than COD, right? Because obviously this is a free-to-play game that will eventually come at some point. But we have no release date. We have no idea when that release date is going to be. We know nothing so far. And so what I'm going to talk about real quick is the last thing that we've even seen about XDefiant, which was posted on October 10th, I believe. So I'll flash it on your screen for you guys to see and read along as well. But it was a message from the XDefiant team. So the only thing that recently did happen with XDefiant, and it was about a month ago now, was there was a beta on the PC. Just PC, not console, which I couldn't understand because obviously this game is going to release on console as well. So surely if there are bugs and things they want to test to make sure are working, I'm sure you'd want the console version to be just as good as well. Unless there are no bugs on the console version, I don't know. But then that would make me wonder why there's no console version released. I don't know. I don't really know what's going on too much with XDefiant. But anyway, let's talk about this image that I'm going to show you guys and talk about what they put here. So it says, a message from the XDefiant team. Thank you to everyone who participated in our recent public test session. This is the PC one that they had. To stand alongside us as we build XDefiant. The PTS once again showed us your appreciation for our fast-paced gunplay, uniquely crafted maps, objective-driven modes, and iconic faction rosters, which is great, right? That's one of the things that's getting XDefiant, you know, a bit popular. It's got a little bit different gunplay. It's got, you know, it's a little bit different, right? Something, an alternative to COD. And of course, it's the no skill-based matchmaking talk and stuff like that. The no skill-based matchmaking part is a big sell to a lot of people. And I said this would be, right? I said if a game company came out and said they don't have skill-based matchmaking, just make a half-decent shooter, they could probably, like, get some people playing their game. And XDefiant looks like they're going to challenge that. But anyway, but it also surfaced some inconsistencies in the game experience that we need to address prior to launching our preseason. So we've made the hard decision to delay the preseason of XDefiant. Not a good thing, okay? Now, this will come into a big debate that we'll talk about in a second about, like, games releasing unfinished and games releasing finished and stuff. This is going to be a very interesting one here. But anyway, the team will continue to work to address these issues and testing to make sure we deliver our goal of being a best-in-class arcade shooter. We will share more information about preseason testing as it comes. Thanks again for supporting yada 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 XDefiant team. So, the gist of it is XDefiant is delayed again. We don't know the exact reasons. I'm sure there might be possibly, like, I'm not going to go through at least Mark Rubin's Twitter, because basically I know he answers a lot of questions. A lot of people will probably ask him and they'll be asking why and stuff, and he might have given, like, detailed specifics as to why, or there might have been quite a few issues that he hasn't actually given any sort of details so far, or just that, hey, there's some bugs and issues that aren't ready for launch, you know, so we need to work on this. But this is going to bring up a big debate, I think, with the community, because we've seen it a lot in gaming right now, which is games being released incomplete, right? We've had it a lot with, like, mainly major single player games such as, oh god, what's a good one? Cyberpunk was a big failure. Everyone remembers that. Of course, it's taken a long time for that game to reestablish itself. Battlefield 2042, that's had a massive resurgence recently. I've heard about the 100,000 players on PC, so I don't know what's been going on there, but it sounds like they've actually fixed the issues they had, but at launch, they failed massively. And it looks like XDefiant's taken a different approach, because again, a lot of companies, what they do is, and a lot of people have, like, said that XDefiant has failed because of this, that there was a window of opportunity that unfortunately XDefiant did miss. You know, it'd have been nice if they had the game ready at this specific point, but of course, Call of Duty was stale. Modern Warfare 3 beta wasn't out. I don't even think Modern Warfare 3 was really, like, talked about or announced, or any details were, specific images were shared or anything, or video at this point. But getting XDefiant out during the opportunity that it had when Call of Duty, nobody really cared about Call of Duty, okay? Like, not many people were interested. The problem is now we're in that hype phase, you know, MW3. We're literally 6 days away from being able to play the campaign, which, of course, I will be playing here on the channel as well, guys. I'm pretty sure I'm going to try and live stream for you guys. So if you guys want to see that, let me know down below. Of course, I will do that. But anyway, we're not talking about MW3. We're talking about XDefiant. So, XDefiant had a window of opportunity to release. It didn't, you know, meet what they think is a appropriate game to launch with, which is fair enough, right? They're trying to make the best game possible. But is this going to cost them in the long run? Are they going to end up releasing the game, yes, in a working state, in the best possible condition? However, because people will be playing Call of Duty, you know, let's be honest, it's a Call of Duty versus XDefiant thing. That's all people could compare it to. It's XDefiant versus Call of Duty, and that's what people could compare it to. People who play Call of Duty will probably try XDefiant, and they'll determine whether they want to play XDefiant or whether they go back to Call of Duty. Some people probably don't care about Call of Duty and just want to play XDefiant, which is great, right? New game, it's a fun thing. I personally am not into this whole XDefiant versus Call of Duty thing. Either way, if the game's good, if XDefiant comes out launching and, you know, as good as it was in the beta, I can't see a problem with me playing this. Like, it was a fun game, it was different, it was a little bit of different pacing. And, you know, I do videos here on the channel, of course. I will do XDefiant content when, obviously, the game comes out. But yeah, we've seen it a lot with game developers. They release games that are unfinished, and they end up failing, like, massively. They end up making a bounce back, but of course, that's pretty easy to make a bounce back when the game was, you know, when the game fails. When the game fails because it launches so poorly, you know, with bugs and glitches, and it just doesn't look good. And it obviously affects, with single-player games, it's massively more detrimental, I think, because obviously the single-player games are, you know, a campaign experience, essentially. You're supposed to play for the story of that. And if the game is just buggy and a mess, you just don't care anymore. Like, that's it. You just accept that you don't like the game and that. Cyberpunk, like I said, it might be a little bit better now, but the fallout from, you know, how well it's supposed to do, it fell off really hard. Battlefield, like I said, different multiplayer game. You can have a resurgence with multiplayer games, and that could happen with XDefiant. So maybe, just maybe, should XDefiant have released? Should they have released it in the window of opportunity where a lot of people were talking about this game, a lot of people were interested, and, you know, the hype for the game is a little bit lower now? Because again, if they release this in, say, January time, well, that's peak Call of Duty time, right? It's just after Christmas. Everyone's got, you know, you got your Christmas noobs. I say Christmas noobs because obviously we don't really get Christmas noobs if you're a part of that, if you know, with the skill-based matchmaking, that unless you are a Christmas noob yourself, then you get that lovely ability to play Christmas noobs. But a lot of new people come in and play Call of Duty, and then January time is kind of like the start of Call of Duty, right? Like, whether people like it, whether people hate it, the bugs start to surface more. People's opinions of Call of Duty start to, you know, like, be more apparent, like whether they like the game or not. Like, I feel like XDefiant's missed an opportunity here. Should they have released the game in a buggy mess? Like, obviously, no, of course not. We love games to release in a very full working state. But as a game developer, they're going to find out, you know, it's going to be interesting for a lot of other game developers as well. They'll probably be watching this and seeing, like, is this what we should be doing? Should we be making sure and prioritizing that the game is as fully functional as possible at launch? Or, if this game doesn't succeed and fails because it releases at a time that wasn't so great, but it does release in a good manner, this could set a bad precedent for gaming, which is, game companies will see that, and they will see that, hey, we need to just release this game at this time. When we say we're releasing the game in, say, summer 2024 or such and such, or November, etc., we're just going to have to do it. And if the game comes out in a buggy mess, then we're just going to fix it as time goes on, which happens with Call of Duty. I'll bring it back to Call of Duty because Call of Duty is quite infamous for this. We get a lot of games of Call of Duty that come out with issues and problems, and some of it's like stuff that's just chosen to not be, you know, the way we want it. And it takes like the whole COD cycle to fix it. Most Call of Duties get better by the end. I don't feel like that's the case with Modern Warfare 2, to be honest. But a lot of other Call of Duties, it takes some time for them to get you know, become the game that it's supposed to be. And then people are like, oh, if the game released like this has been great. It could also be a tactic being used by Activision, of course, which I don't think they'll be able to do now, of course, with them being owned up by Microsoft. But Activision might be using that as a tactic, of course. If you make the previous Call of Duty a better version, like the best version of itself, what does that do? It gets people interested in the next Call of Duty because they're like, oh, this game's great, let's go play, I want to go get the next game. You know what I mean? There could be a tactic to that. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens here. I don't know what the next stage is for XDefiant. Like, is the next stage them just saying, hey, we're releasing XDefiant? Because they don't really, like, do themselves well with, like, good PR or like, promotion, let's say. Because this game doesn't get, like, promoted sort of thing. Like, you kind of have to know about Twitter and stuff like that. There's no real, like, I don't know how to put it, like a trailer or anything that says, hey, XDefiant coming such and such. I haven't really seen that. The XDefiant just got spoken about in the community. It built up a little bit more. People, like, mainly from YouTube were talking about it, and then there were people, obviously, that people would know, you know, one of the people making the game is Aches, who is a former Call of Duty champion. You know, he's helping develop the game, so people would know through him and his following. Then you've got, like, the former Infinity Ward developers, of course, people would be interested in that. That's kind of, like, what's interesting about it. And, you know, the big selling point of XDefiant, really, is just slightly different arcade game, like, shooter gameplay. And, of course, the no skill-based matchmaking, which is great. Like, I want to see no skill-based... Well, no or lack of skill-based matchmaking in shooter games or multiplayer games, because it's just... It doesn't have a place for me, okay? I think we've seen that with Call of Duty for years now. Like, it just doesn't help the experience, and it makes the experience more miserable for more players than it does help, in my opinion. But... yeah, so I want to see what happens with this. I feel like XDefiant's missed an opportunity, and even if the game comes out great, perfectly fine, like, what are they hoping for? Because I don't see how this game could launch without any bugs, right? It's difficult to release a game that doesn't have a bug, right? Like, we're talking even map breaches and stuff. You can't perfect a game. There's no such thing as a perfect game that comes out perfect. There's always some weird glitch and bug that can happen. Because, you know, there's different bits of code and this and that. It doesn't matter how many eyes you have. And, of course, this is a smaller team as well. We're not talking about, like, a Call of Duty team here of, like, you know, Treyarch, Infinity Ward, Sledgehammer, all working together to make a Call of Duty now. This is a few amount of people with, Ubisoft making this game. And, yeah, we just don't know anything, really, at the moment. So now we have no release date. And it's a bit of an interesting one. So I want to know your guys' thoughts and opinions down below. Would you rather have a game that releases when it says it releases during the hype, basically, but be expected to possibly be buggy or not? Or would you rather the game comes out in a fully working state, but you know, the thing that could happen is because of the time they're releasing it or when the game's appropriate to release, that the game might not do as well, like, as popularity-wise? What do you guys think? I want to know your opinions down below. But I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, leave a comment, leave a like, subscribe notifications on. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Goodbye.